India spent 4,50,000 crores on coal last year. That's more than India's entire education and healthcare budget combined. With over 100 billion tons sitting in our mines, and coal still being the cheapest way to power our homes, we have locked ourselves into this highly polluting fuel. Today, it supplies nearly 75% of India's electricity. But how did we get here? And can we ever reduce this dependency? Every big choice India took, from the 1900s to the 2000s, worked like pumping oxygen into this polluting fossil fuel. First, coal powered our railways, steel plants, and cement factories. Then, to escape the Gulf energy crisis, we nationalized coal, birthing Coal India, a public giant that paid 10,000 crores in just dividends to the government last year. In the 1990s, to avoid India's bankruptcy, we liberalized our economy, which only gave it more oxygen. And today, as we race to become the world's manufacturing hub, once again, the engine is coal. But can we really justify the damage done by this fossil fuel? Or is there finally a cleaner and greener alternative? 15,000 kilometers. That's how far a petrol car would drive to release the same carbon dioxide as burning just 1 ton of coal. But last year, India didn't burn 1 ton. We burned approximately 1,000 million tons. So can we really justify these emissions? Or is it finally time to switch to a greener alternative and face the challenge of supplying its power at scale? By the way, if you're finding this eye-opening, hit subscribe. And if you drop your emails in the comments, we will send you the full research behind this episode, so you can explore India's situation yourself. $60 billion, or nearly 5 lakh crores. That's how much India has invested into green energy so far. But why is it seen as the next best alternative to our coal-dependent economy? First, while India may hold 100 billion tons of coal, the supply of air, sun, and water powering wind, solar, and hydro is unlimited. Unlike coals, renewables can directly compete without ever running out. Second, the same supply chain that delivers coal electricity can also deliver renewable electricities, meaning no extra investment in distribution. And most importantly, renewables require no mining at all. They simply tap into natural resources around us. But how do we supply power from our massive solar and wind farms to every single home? And what are the hurdles that are still stopping us from making this shift? Transporting green energy is as simple as plugging into a socket. But before it reaches the wall, it needs an adapter. Here's how it flows. Build massive solar, wind, and hydro farms. Step up the power with transformers, like pumps boosting water pressure before sending it far. Sync it all to substations, like traffic cops making sure every car enters the highway at the same speed. Then send it across giant transmission lines, those tall electricity towers and endless wires stretching across fields. And finally, it plugs into our homes through the meter box and the wires hidden in our walls. So if the infrastructure exists, why isn't renewable energy already our main source of supply? What hurdles are stopping us from making the switch? And is India destined to remain coal dependent? 100 crores. That's the impact of just a 2 rupee rise in coal price. And that 2 rupee price directly affects nearly 10 lakh households who depend on free electricity. But here's the question. If air, water, and sunlight are unlimited and free, shouldn't renewable power be cheaper than coal? This is where the equation flips. Our reliance on coal rises while renewables fall behind. First, sunlight and wind may be abundant, but they are not consistent. Coal can be mined and burnt 24/7, keeping turbines spinning. But wind slows down and sunlight disappears at night, exactly when India's electricity demand is at its peak. Second, while we can store solar and wind power, but storage costs make renewables more expensive. A kilowatt hour of coal power cost about 3 to 4 rupees. Renewable power without storage can cost as low as 2.5 to 3 rupees. But with storage, it jumps to 5 to 8 rupees. Just a few more rupees. Yet, we see the impact it can have on the Indian economy. So the real question is, can India solve this challenge and make the switch to renewables? Or will coal remain our permanent lifeline and our biggest trap? The short answer. For the next few decades, India will remain coal reliant and our dependency may even increase. Why? Because we are a cost sensitive economy. But there are changes that could help us accelerate this shift. 1. HVDC cables, so we don't lose electricity during transmission. Flexible electricity pricing, so we can buy and store power during the day when it's cheaper, and reduce dependence on costly nighttime demands when renewables fall short. And perhaps a carbon tax or a carbon credit policy. Though here I am skeptical, because while it could force change, it could also risk artificially inflating coal prices rather than solving the problem on merit. Coal built India's growth, but it may also choke our future. The choice we make now decides the way we go. This is No Noise, where we understand what matters.